Hello, I'm Montgomery County Auditor Keith, and we want to welcome you to another episode of Auds and Ends. Auds and Ends is a production of the Montgomery County Auditor's Office where we talk with interesting people in our community, people that are making things happen, making Montgomery County a better place. And so it's always an interesting time we have here to spend with people to learn more about them, learn more about what they do and what they contribute to the community. And so this month we are so excited to have with us the director of the Montgomery County Veteran Service Commission. Kim Frisco is our guest today.
Thank you for having me.
Kim, thank you for being here. We're really excited to learn more about you and more about the Veteran Services Commission and the things that the Veteran Services Commission does for veterans. So let's start out, though, by learning a little bit more about you. So you have been at the Veteran Service Commission, what?
Since 2020.
Since 2020.
Yes, March of 2020. 4 days after I got there, the world shut down.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So, but let's talk about your journey to get what got you there. So you yourself are a veteran.
Yes, I'm an Air Force veteran. I'm retired from the Air Force. I served basically as a hospital administrator while I was in the Air Force, and I was lucky enough when I finally left the Air Force. I decided I was going to sell real estate. It was so exciting in 2008, right?
Yeah.
And then the market fell out, and my husband looked at me and said, you need to get a job. I'm like, I have a job. He goes, no, a real job. And
2008, the real estate market just collapsed.
It dumped out. And what was kind of funny is, before then, when anyone discharges from the military, normally they will have their last exam at their local VA. And I had that there, and that was over there on Gettysburg, over on 3rd Street. Mm-hmm. And I drove over there at 8 o'clock in the morning when the moon and stars were aligned. It was beautiful over there. I parked right up front, went in, and at that time, in the Dayton VA, there was a little bullpen, and our little volunteers were sitting there. And thank you for your service. May we get you to your correct floor. And when I was there, I told my husband, I said, if I ever had to get a job, I might want to go to the Dayton VA hospital. I really enjoyed that because when I left the military, I said, I would never work for healthcare or the government again. And here I am. And so, as I said, I was out at the Dayton VA for 11 years. And, sometimes you think it's time to move on or you feel like you've done something. And I was ready for a different move. I just thought I would just retire. I told my husband one day, I said, I think I'm done for now. I think I need a break. And I said, I'm going to put my notice in. And I love the VA. I put my 2 weeks notice in. And sure enough, here I am back at work. I put my notice in December of 2019 and March of 2020.
You went back to work.
I'm back to work at Montgomery County, and I love it.
So 20 years military, and you were stationed here? You were stationed at Wright Pat? Is that where you were?
Yes, that was my last duty assignment, yes.
Where else did you
serve? I am not an exciting person. My husband is also retired Air Force, and he traveled the world over.
Okay.
And this was not only my first duty station, it was my last duty station. And I always laugh because I have to tell folks, I only had one remote tour in my career, and that was to Albuquerque, New Mexico, which was Kirtland Air Force Base. But it's really a joke because I spent 17 years at Wright Pat and 3 years in Albuquerque, and love that as well.
Wow.
And it was okay.
So you spent 17 years at Wright Pat?
I sure did.
Wow. Well,
not in the same job.
Okay.
I got handpicked to do a variety of different things on a regular basis. And I was okay because, home is in West Virginia, 4 hours away, and close to family.
Well, let me say, first of all, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And your husband is military too?
Yes, he's retired Air Force as well.
Did so you met in the Air Force?
We did meet in the Air Force.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
Is there more to that story?
There's always more to a good story. Yes. So, yes. So I was closing down the 4950th Test Wing many, many, many moons ago. Uh-huh. And my husband kept trying to ask me out. And I said, thank you, but no, I don't date enlisted because I was an officer. And then we're closing down the test wing, and he came over, he said, hey, listen, if if I was no longer in the Air Force, would you ever consider going out with me? I said, I might. And then he handed me his retirement paperwork and asked if I would sign it. And we closed down the test wing about 6 months later.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
well, that's a love story. That's a love story.
I still got him, so
There
so
you go.
far,
It
so
worked
good.
out. It worked out. So when you left the Air Force and you went to work at the VA Center
I did.
Here in Dayton, and you were there for
I was there for 11 years.
11 years. 11 years. And what did you do there?
So I was the chief of community and public relations over at the Dayton VA, which was a wonderful job. You know, I did just about everything that wasn't medical, right?
Okay.
So I managed the patient advocate office where we get complaints in the system. I managed the veterans experience where if there was a problem in the hospital, we would work to improve those processes. I managed the front desk. I manage voluntary services where we collect donations and we sign up volunteers to help us. So it was a fabulous, fabulous job. And I say all of that, but all of that included public affairs as well. So I had a great public affairs staff.
Then when you left the VA Center, you were done with your career, right? Working career. And
I
then
thought I was.
You thought you were, and then you went to work for the Veterans Service Commission, and then COVID hit.
Yes.
So in March of 2020 is when you started.
Yes.
And then the world just changed, didn't it?
It sure did, didn't it?
How did that affect? Well, and you were new to the Veterans Service Commission at that point, so you
I was
kinda,
yes, I
sorta.
was new to that office, but when I was at the VA, I managed the veteran service organizations that filed claims for our veterans.
Okay.
So I kind of knew what they did. And I dabbled at my kitchen table helping the neighbors file for their claims and helping them. But so I'm here and I love it.
Well, so let's talk about then what the kind of services the Veterans Service Commission provides. Like you said, you had some experience from the outside on some of the things that they do. So tell us a little bit about what the Veterans Service Commission does.
Thank you. One of my favorite things to talk about what we do here in Montgomery County. So we're a by-law program, and we were established by Ohio Revised Code. We have an office like mine in all 88 counties, but they're not all run the same way. So we're responsible for helping our veterans.
That's like the auditor's office. You know, there's one auditor's office in every county, 88, but they're run 88 different ways.
Absolutely. Yes, everybody does it differently.
Right.
And I think we do it fabulously.
There you go. There you go.
So what we're in charge of is filing all claims for our veterans that may have been injured or had an illness while serving in the military. So we file all of their claims to the Department of Veterans Affairs. And we file compensation claims like disability claims, pension. We help our surviving spouses get benefits as well. So we file a ton of claims to help our veterans get compensation from the Department of Veterans Affairs. So we do that, as well as, you already know this one, is we help our veterans if they get into a situation where they need some financial assistance. And we will help them with some emergency needs, such as rent, utilities, food. We will help them kind of get over a hump. We don't sustain their income, but we help them get over that hump, and that is through our taxpayer dollars. And
that goes through my office.
It does go through your office.
Yes.
But I want to make sure you know we are good stewards of our taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
And one of the other things by law is we're supposed to help our veterans get transportation to their local VA for their medical care. But we go above and beyond that, because when I came from the VA, I knew we were outsourcing a lot of specialty care, and we were using RTA and bus passes to, before I got there, get them to the VA. Well, we can say early on, we were only spending about $3,000 on transportation with bus passes, and this year we're probably expected to spend about $65,000 on transportation, getting our veterans to all their medical needs, medical facilities, whether it's at the VA or in the community. So we provide transportation, and in most cases, door to door, as we work with RTA and paratransit to help those with mobility devices. We also have a dental program as well. It's a preventive dental program. Many of our veterans out there may realize that not everybody qualifies for dental at the VA. So we help to get preventative services. And we have an agreement with about 12 different dentists in our community that will accept our voucher. So we provide dental as well.
Now, how big is the staff at the Veterans? How many people do you manage over there?
So we have grown. So we are a team of 13.
Okay, and there's a commission, right? That you report to.
Yes.
I guess that's why it's called the Veterans Commission, right?
Yes, just like you have a commission, I have a commission.
Okay.
And we have 5 veterans that serve on our commission and that basically do our policies, and they tell us how they want us to manage it. And we're very fortunate that all of our commissioners want to serve veterans, and they are very supportive of all of our programs.
So what is your favorite program that you do? Do you have a favorite? They're all good, right?
They're all good.
Great.
I'm going to tell you my favorite one that I brought to our commission besides our dental program.
Okay.
So when I started in 2020 and everybody went home,
You're right.
Everybody went home, even my staff, and I was only 4 days on the job.
Right.
But I came to work because I needed to learn, and not a big deal. So
and there was nobody else there.
There was nobody else
so you
there.
didn't have to worry about getting infected, right?
Nope. So for about a month, I went in every day, and I answered the phones. The phones were ringing off the hook.
I bet they were.
And the one thing that they were ringing off the hook about was, I can't go to work. I don't have a job. I can't get a paycheck. I can't pay my rent. I'm going to be evicted. So we heard and saw so much about folks needing legal assistance, and we tried to refer them to legal aid. Legal aid was severely overwhelmed as well. So I talked to my commission and said, I want to write a PD and get a veterans attorney on my staff. And they said yes. And we currently have a Marine veteran serving on our staff. Yes, I'm going to call you out, Stephen Strain. So Stephen is a UD graduate, and he has a heart for service. And he works and helps all of our veterans. He will defend them in housing court, administrative law court. We do a lot of last will and testaments. And what's really nice about it, and hopefully all of your listeners know, that everything we do in our office is at no cost to the veteran or eligible family member. And
so these legal services that they provide, they're provided at no cost.
At no cost to our veterans and eligible family members. And if you happen to have a veteran out there that may be at end of life or in hospice or housebound, our attorney will do a house visit to assist them.
Wow.
We help veterans.
I did not know that.
Yes.
That. Very good. That's
Yes.
very good. So that's your favorite program?
That is my favorite
program.
But I'm going to have a new favorite coming up soon. Can I
Okay.
tell you about that?
Please.
I'm so excited.
Are you allowed to?
I'm making it up as we go along.
Okay,
I'm
great.
making up the position.
All right.
So one of the things I shared with you is sometimes our veterans need financial assistance, and we see that. And sometimes, just like in our regular community, individuals have lived a life of poverty and sometimes don't know how to get out of there. So I'm working with a variety of community partners to do something like case management, a social work, a resource navigator. So I'm looking to hopefully get someone on our staff that will help them navigate the system, watch them, and see what we can do in referring them so that they can get out of some of their issues. And that's what we want to do. We're already connected to the community with our homeless partners, our food pantries. We're already connected with Job and Family Services. We're connected with a lot of those, but in most cases, I'm the one doing the case managing, and I still know everybody at the VA that I'm calling them for assistance. But I think we should have someone full-time to follow them to make sure these folks are going down the right path, whether that's budgeting or a variety of things.
Do you have issues? Do veterans? How do they find out about your services? I mean, is there some type of network, or do you think veterans in general just know these things, or
not necessarily?
Right.
When I first got there at the county, we couldn't do boots on the ground outreach, right?
Right.
Because we all had to wear a mask. Nobody was going out. But I'm used to doing outreach from when I was at the VA. So instead, I did my outreach by using the media. So we have commercials out there. We have radio advertisements for what we do. And more importantly, we love the fact that the VA knows what we do. And as we continue to serve our veterans in Montgomery County, it really is word of mouth that we're getting out. And I'm involved in a lot of other veteran organizations that we share the word so we get veterans coming in.
Now that you mentioned, I've seen the TV ads. I've seen some of the TV ads.
Did I wake you up in the morning or keep you up at night?
Well, I've seen them. But that again, that's a very effective way to get the word out. Do you use like VFWs and American Legions? Is that something that
so we have a lot of service organizations, and just as we talked about the commissioners on our staff, our commission, we're represented by the DAV, the Disabled American Veterans, the Vietnam Veterans, American Legion, AMVETS, and the VFW, the Veterans of Foreign Wars. So they help us also get the word out. So we continue to work to share as much as we can about all of our services, and they help us spread the word.
So 2020 was a challenging year for all of us.
Yes.
And especially challenging for you. Like what you said, 4 days on the job.
4 days on the job.
And they send everybody home.
Sure did.
So lessons learned from that, or how?
Yes.
How long did it take you before you had boots on the ground again? I guess coming out of that, what did it all mean?
So coming out of it. So I'm not afraid to go to work, and my poor staff, I'm like, all right, you spent enough time at home, you're coming back in. And we have the space that we could socially distance, and we had individual offices, and we were very careful. But my staff was back to work less than 3 months after COVID, and we were seeing our veterans in our office because they needed us.
There was such a demand, probably.
There was. COVID did a lot for all of us, and one of that was Zoom. We all know what Zoom is, right?
Yeah, I never heard of Zoom before.
Neither had I. So we did a lot of Zoom. But one of the other things is, even with the county, a lot of folks were working from home, and I'm not going to say your office was working from home too, but we all were. But when we went to
I'll admit I wasn't in the office for 2 months.
Wow.
I worked at home for 2 months,
Yes.
and I learned how to use Zoom.
We learned to do a lot of things.
Yeah, for me personally. Now,
Yes.
I had other people in the office that had to show. We always said that we had to do. We had to keep payroll.
Yes.
We had to keep
Thank
payroll
you.
going. And we had to do things like foster care and veterans checks. And those types of checks we had to issue, because those were needs. Now,
Yes.
we told the other office and everything. Now, if you need a new chair or pencils or something, we're not dealing with those things.
Exactly.
We'll deal with those things later. But yeah.
One of the things I learned when I got to my office is if we had a veteran in need for food, we were able to process through the county, and the county would issue them a check. But processing, did not happen every day in our office, and
Right.
processing was it looked differently during COVID.
Correct. Right.
And along with that, people weren't getting out; they were afraid. Shelves were bare. But what I ended up doing, is I started a voucher program at our office with Kroger, and they would let me issue a voucher to our veterans in need in the office. And they could take these vouchers to any Kroger's in Montgomery County. And I visited all 19 Kroger stores, and they accept all of our vouchers. So one thing that happened was we didn't issue them a check for food. We actually gave them a Kroger voucher, and they could take it to any of their Kroger's, and they could go there, get food, get laundry detergent, get personal items, and they could have it in their hand when they left our office, and we would just pay the bill later.
When you were at the VA Center, you started a veterans food pantry?
I sure did.
So it kind of followed you forward, I guess.
It sure did. The VA doesn't have that food pantry now due to COVID. But when I worked at the VA, I worked with one of our diabetes doctors, and he said the most frustrating thing for our veterans was sometimes at the end of the month, they didn't have enough food, and it changed how their diabetes medication worked for them, and they could be in a critical crisis. So we worked with our Dayton Food Bank to start up a food pantry, and it was at no cost to us, and we held that on a regular basis, and it was quite a success. And I think of our veterans, especially our combat veterans, all of our veterans who served are heroes, and we need to take care of them. And providing them food in need is one of the things that we can do.
Clearly, that's what drives you
Yes.
for the work that you do, right?
Yes. I love what I do.
You love what you do. It shows. It shows. And I said before we started here, we were talking, and so you're clearly a very passionate person. You're passionate
Yes.
about the job you perform, and but you have other interests too, right?
Yes, I do. I do have other interests. Yes.
So I found out that you before we started here that you foster dogs.
I do. So that's another love and passion of mine, saving the animals. So I do foster dogs, and currently...
See, I told you we'd get to this.
You would. And currently I am fostering dogs with the Schnauzer Rescue Cincinnati, as well as Second Chance Rescue in Bellbrook. And right now I have 7 dogs in my home. A few months ago I was up to 9, but it is so worthwhile. We love helping them find the best homes that they can. And before I always had labs. I loved those big dogs, and I missed those big dogs. And now I have little yappy dogs, and I love every one of them. But there is a need for that, and I always love to say, please don't shop rescue and adopt rescue animals. So they're well worth it.
Good for you. Clearly, with you're someone. It's good to have people like you in our community, and thank you. Thank you for your service to our nation, and thank you for your service here in the community. I understand that in 2020. You were inducted into the Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame.
I was.
What an honor.
It was a tremendous honor. I was so honored that something like that happened. And I have a lot of partners and friends in the community that I work to initiate a lot of veterans initiatives, and somebody recognized that and nominated me. And what's really cool about the Veterans Hall of Fame, it's not what you did in the military, it's what you did after your service, what you did for your community. And I was also so very fortunate that they select 20 people every year to the Ohio Veterans Hall of Fame. And after I was selected, they asked me to serve on the executive team to select future veterans to be represented.
Good for you. Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
That's great. So, someone wants to volunteer to help with the Veterans Commission. Are there volunteer opportunities or things that people can get involved if they want to help with the veterans, want to be involved?
That is really a great question. We do not have an opportunity for volunteerism in our office, but we love seeing all the folks out there, and we would say, please spread the word.
That's
spread
the best
word.
thing you can do.
Yes, you can spread the word to your neighbor, to your son, to your father. Let them know that we exist. But if there is someone out there that does want to volunteer for the veterans, I say go visit the Dayton VA Medical Center. They have a great volunteer department there, and we always work with them on a regular basis. So there are a lot of things for our community to get involved with.
So what type of volunteer things would they be doing out there?
So we have volunteers out there that might drive the golf cart. When folks park their car, they can help them get to the front door. We have folks that might sit in the waiting room of the surgical waiting room, and keep folks comfortable. We have other things that folks will help and maybe set up bingo for our veterans that are in the nursing home there. We have a variety of things that they can do out there.
That's exciting. That's great. That's good to know. So, someone has a veteran that needs access to your services. How do they contact you?
Yes. If you need assistance in our office, give us a call at 937-225-4801. We are here to help, and I want everyone to realize that we are an office of veterans serving other veterans. So we want to help. We have a great team, and we're here to serve you.
And that number again?
937-225-4801.
Great. Now, do you have a website too, or?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
www.mcvsc.org.
Okay. And of course, now, if people are listening to this on our podcast, they won't see this, but on the video portion, my guys here will make sure that gets put up on the screen there,
Love
so
it.
people will see
Yes.
that. It has been so nice to get to know you a little better.
Thank
and
you.
to have you on the program today to get to know more about what the Veteran Service Commission. Anything else about the Veteran Service Commission you think you would like to share with us? Or
Many of you don't think you have benefits, or many of our veterans think somebody else is hurt more than me.
or somebody doesn't care? Do they think that at some point they think, do anybody still remember me?
Well, we remember them, and what I want to tell them is come file a claim, see what benefits you have. You don't know until you asked, and many of our veterans think it's for the person that is much more injured than they were. But there is enough funding to take care of all of our veterans in our community.
Yes, there is. And
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
From the auditor.
And we appreciate what you do. We
Thank
appreciate the other people there at the Veteran Service Commission, what they do. An important service to our community, important service to those who served our nation, and we're grateful for that. Thank you. And that will wrap us up for this month's episode of Odds and Ends. Thank you all. See you next time.